Race number one at Eagle Farm is the listed Wayne Wilson on Stradbroke Day over the 1600 metres, and I've got yellow jersey on top. This French import for the McAvoy team, Mark Zara in the saddle from barrier number 4. I know a lot of people are going to think first up 1600 metres. If I've got Cox Plate intentions in mind, he should be thrashing this field because there's just nothing here. And he does look clearly the one to beat. War Eternal in for second, winner of his past 2 starts on soft ground, but he was on the back up to win last start, and he's got to do it again here. From the wide draw, though Rachel King knows the horse well. Wall was beaten by War Eternal, and they met on their both preferred soft track, and Persima in for 4th, who I don't think's going too badly and can run a race at the massive odds, but yellow jersey just looks clearly the one to beat. Race number 2 at Eagle Farm is the listed Oxlade Stakes over the 1200 metres, and I am with Marfiano on top. I think he's the class 2-year-old here. Winner of his on debut at Bendigo, then went to the Gold Coast and was screaming home, as was my third pick, Say You Will. But that horse is still a maidener. But back to Marfiano. Mark Zara again, good draw. Hates boys. We know how they go with their 2-year-olds, and has been well backed early, and I think can run really, really well here and get the win in the Oxlade. Hard to exceed in for second, could be anything. Nasharilla on for Peter Roble. Looks an absolute speed machine. Should go straight to the front from the outside drill. Could he hold on? So Say You Will in for third. As previously mentioned, comes into the same race as Marfiano, but this horse is still a maiden in draws wide that does get Craig Williams for the Munch team, and Pearl of Dubai, if you put it all together, should be hard to beat. Is hard fit though, has the wide draw. They never underestimate Peter Sturden when he travels his 2-year-olds. Marfiano for me in the Oxlade. Race number 3 in Brisbane is the Group 2 Brisbane Cup over the 3,200 metres, and I'm with Bella Montagna. She fought out the finish last start with LL Cairns and came out second best. I don't think that'll be the case on Saturday with the extended trip, drawing well and getting a significant weight pull on that mare, having 3 kilos, getting 3 kilos off her from last start, now getting another 3, so it's 6 kilos in her favour to this race, and I think can turn it around off that, considering she only went down by a narrow margin. Allow Cairns, Tim Clark, and they said, we'll try and do what he did last start, set up shop and try and break their hearts from the good draw. Highland Bling got back last start in the Premier's Cup and didn't do a lot, and I don't think he'll do a lot here. And he's running out of chances, being 2 from 17 in my opinion. And Zubalon in for 4th. In my opinion, it's out of the top 2, and I think Bellamontagne is clearly the one. Race number 4 at Eagle Farm is the Group 3 Gunson Classic over the 1,600 metres, and the top 3 in the market are all the emergencies in the Stradbroke, so hopefully none of them get a run and they run here. If they all run here, I think 60s is clearly the one to beat. He'll handle this thing out of the track. He's drawn wide, yes, but we saw he was charging home better than anything last start. And on the outside, and I think he can repeat the dose here. James McDonald in the saddle, who's undefeated on this horse, I found out while doing the Fawn 2 from 2, and I think can go 3 for 3 if it's racing here. Within the Law is another one that'll run really well, drawn well for Tommy Berry and Bjorn Baker. Bjorn Baker's having a wonderful carnival. Just a little bit of query about how fit she is, considering she ran so well first up. Is it going to be second up Syndrome? Skyhook. He's a very good horse on his day that would need a few things to go right to be winning this, and will be attacking the line. And Tupakara in for 4. But I've got 60s on top in the Gunson. Class horse, class race, and class jock. Race number 5 at Eagle Farm is the listed Hinkler handicap over the 1,200 metres, and this is going to be a surprise to quite a few people here, and I'm surprised myself I'm tipping this horse, but I'm with Payline on top. I think that this horse is, not extremely hard to beat, but can run a race, drawn out wide, with room to move. Yes, he's got to give the whole field weight, but gets natural with her in this. An upgrade, you'd have to say, from KWT. Hard fit, coming out of the Doomben 10,000, we're unsuited by class. Prior to that was absolutely flying, and I think can run a big race here, and at $9, a good price to find out. Barber in for second. This horse has beaten most of its opposition in the past. I'm talking about Paray and Firestar, and I think we'll be charging home with no weight and can run really well here for Tim Clark and Richard Litt. Arabian Rose was a good winner last start. Came from the back of the field to go past all of them. Can she repeat it second up from a wide draw? She's got no weight and she's and is lightly raced, so is a good chance. And Paray in for fourth. I couldn't get him any higher than there, even though James McDonald is riding him. He's going to get back and he's going to need luck. And it's the same old story with Paray. We know how this goes. Payline for mine on the listed Hinkler handicap. Race number 6 at Eagle Farm is the Group 2 Dane Ripper Stakes over the 1,300 metres, and I think that this horse stands out here. Neon's on top for Geordie Childs and Graham Begg. Has had absolutely no luck this preparation, being 4 and 5 wide in Adelaide in the John Hawkes, and then was 3 and 4 wide last start with no cover in the race that Savagery Vibe won, where this horse was the $5 favourite, and that's how open that race was. Now you've got two horses at $7 favourite here, where this horse finally draws a barrier, not worried about the 1,300 metres at all. She's been a dominant winner over the 12 in the past, and she's been holding her form. She's been holding her own against horses like Giga Kick, and that's good enough form for a race like this. Gerringong in for second. Oh, and he's hard fit. Gerringong in for second. This horse is first up now, trained by Corey and Chris and Corey Muntz. Gets Craig Williams in the saddle. First up, 1,400 metres. Does signal some intent and comes off a blistering trial. Though I just think she might need to run first up. Firestorm is a Group 1 horse. It gets James McDonald, but hasn't performed at her best in the last couple of preparations and would need to do it again, as in win. And Savagery Vibe won at 100-1 last start off being hard fit from a good draw, though now gets barrier 20. So that's a massive query. You've got in this race horses that have had no luck there with this preparation, first up or can't win, and I'm hoping that I'm on the right one. Race number 7 at Eagle Farm is one of the two features on the day. It's the JJ Atkins at Group 1 level, and I've got no surprise, Tron Bolt on top. This horse has been running so well in Sydney. 1,400 wins to its name on wet ground, and I don't think this track will be particularly, or not as rain affected as they're posting it now. I don't think it'll be a heavy 8. It's a bright sunny day today, Friday in Brisbane, but I think that this horse has had 2 wins over, 1 win over 13, 1 win over 14, and the other placings over 13, so out in trip could actually suit this horse right down to the ground, drawn effectively to get the stalking run, peel out and go whooshka. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen here. Stormy Marco in for second, comes out of the lead-in race, being the size produce. Didn't get a lot of luck there when beaten by Berzelius and Martis. That's why I couldn't have those two horses on top of Stormy Marco. James McDonald rode this horse last up, but he chooses to ride Trombolt, and I think the booking of James McDonald on Trombolt is a massive bonus. Martis in for third. Tony Gollan trains this horse. Mark Zauderide has been on this horse for a couple of occasions. Running well this preparation, though, a win here would shop, and Berzelius in for fourth. Trombolt for mine and the Atkins. Hopefully he streets them. Race number 8 at Eagle Farm is the Group 1 Stradbroke handicap over the 1,400 metres, if I can get my words out. And I'm with Headley Grange here. I'm puzzled as to why he's not clear and quite dominant favourite, because he won last start, not impressively, it was a narrow margin, but carried the weight there and meets them all better at the weights for beating them last start. Lightly raced 5-year-old gelding, drawn ideally, in my opinion, in barrier number 8 for a Stradbroke. He'll be in the moving line. He can go where he wants to go. Adam Ironimus in the saddle, who knows the horse well, hard fit, handles all ground. What am I missing it to him to be at 550? Another wheel in for second. This horse ran really well last start, of only being second up. With Jamie Mallum in the saddle. Ryan Maloney rode first up in the 10,000. He's back on here, though, drawn 17. It's going to face a task. Fangirl made up many lengths last start. In the Kingsford Smith being second up off the all-age run. James McDonald in the saddle here, though, is going to have to do it again and run past most of the field to win if she's going to. And Spicy Martini, don't forget about this one. She's run well over the 1400 metres before at Eagle Farm, winning the Fred Breast last year to get into the Stradbroke. Ran really poorly in the Stradbroke last year, but I think she's going better than last year. Won first up, ran really well second up, drawn well and gets no weight in her back. Wouldn't it be a story for Taylor Marshall to ride? He's, I do believe, first Group 1 winner. Headley Grange, in my opinion, though, I'm 90% confident he's the one to beat in the Stradbroke. Race number 9 at Eagle Farm is the Group 2 Q22 over the 2200 metres, and I'm going with Half Yours, the Melbourne Cup winner. I personally think that while he's been in little bit of a lackluster form this preparation, he hasn't been far off them. He's drawn barrier 8. He should get something to take him into it, and if he's close enough come the 300 metres, watch out, because I think he'll explode. He's been progressing nicely up to this point, and I think that this is the run where we can see the real Half Yours, and if the real Half Yours turns up, he won't be beaten, and I think that that's going to be the case here. Fourth up, hard fit, target race, and I've been saying for a long time, and I've been keen on him for a long time for this race, and I'm not dropping off here. Vauban in for second. Drawn barrier 11, Tim Clark for Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott. Can easily say that this horse can run really well, and I think will run well here at 480, considering we know how good he is over the 2000 and extended trip, though. Half Yours had him comfortably in the Caulfield and Melbourne Cup duo, so it's hard to see him turning the tables on that horse. Pride of Jenny in for third. I know what everybody's going to say. You've been on the whole preparation. Why are you jumping off? Purely for the fact of the matter is, I think she's hit her peak. I don't think she's going to run the 22, and I think should be looking for the paddock by this point. Though she wins, I'm going to look like a bit of an idiot. But yeah, Pride of Jenny for third, and I couldn't get her any higher. And Knight's Choice in for fourth. I think that this horse could run a race. The massive odds, considering that he's building fitness and looking to get out in trip, and that's exactly what he gets from a good draw. And at $81, considering he himself is a Melbourne Cup winner, and it's pretty exciting considering in this race we have 2 Melbourne Cup winners, can run really well. But I'm with Half Yours to bounce back to form in the Q22. Thank you everyone for watching my preview for Group 1 Stradbroke Handicap Day, also included, also covering the Group 1 JJ Atkins. I hope you've enjoyed the preview, hopefully to bouncing back off what's been a couple of disappointing weeks, but I'm confident on a couple on this card, and hopefully they can salute and win. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see everybody next weekend, or next week, for the preview for Ipswich Cup Day.